The city of Lagos never slept. Cars honked, street vendors shouted, and the smell of roasted corn filled the humid evening air. Inside a sleek black Range Rover, Oba Adekunle, billionaire and business mogul. As the traffic light turned red, he leaned back and rubbed his temples. That was when he saw her. Across the street, under a broken lamppost, a woman sat on the bare pavement. Her wrapper was torn, her hair unkempt, her eyes hollow from hunger. She clutched a frail child to her chest while whispering desperate pleas to passers-by. Oba's eyes widened. His breath caught. For a moment, time froze. Because that woman was Amina Yusuf, his first love, his promised bride, the woman who vanished from his life 10 years ago. Now she was nothing more than a beggar on the streets of Lagos. The driver asked quietly, "Sir, should we keep moving?" But Oba could not answer. The world around him blurred, the traffic, the noise, even the air. All he saw was Amina, once radiant as the morning sun, now dim as a dying flame. Once his heart beat, now a stranger in rags. He whispered under his breath, trembling, "Amina." That night, Oba could not sleep. His penthouse overlooked the Atlantic Ocean, lights glittering across Victoria Island. But he felt trapped in darkness. Amina. The name echoed in his mind like a haunting drumbeat. Memories of Kaduna rushed back, where they grew up together. She had been bold, fearless, the kind of girl who spoke her mind even to elders. She wanted to become a lawyer for the poor, fighting injustice. He wanted to build empires, to be a man of power and wealth. They had promised each other forever. But then she disappeared. Rumors filled the air like smoke. She left Oba for a rich man. She wanted wealth, not love. She betrayed him. The betrayal cut Oba deeper than a sword. He buried his pain in work, in ambition, in ruthless hunger for success. Now, seeing her reduced to nothing, it shook him to the core. Was it punishment from fate? Or had the truth been different all along? As he poured himself a glass of water, his grandmother's proverb echoed in his ears. Until the lion tells his side of the story, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Meaning, without truth, lies will rule. He clenched his fist. "I must know why, Amina. I must know what happened." But just as dawn broke, his secretary handed him an envelope delivered by hand. Inside was a piece of paper. Scrawled in trembling handwriting, "Oba, do not search for me. If you do, they will kill you too." His chest tightened. They? Who was she running from? Oba's empire suddenly felt small before this mystery. The following evening, Oba returned to the same street corner. But Amina was gone. Only a few beggars sat scattered. None of them knew where she had gone. One old woman muttered, "That one. She moves like a ghost. Always afraid, always hiding." Frustration burned through him. He ordered his bodyguards to search the area. But Lagos was a maze, crowded, restless, and unforgiving. Back at his mansion, Oba found himself staring at the note again. The handwriting shook as though written in fear. He whispered, "Who are they?" That night, he received a phone call from an unknown number. When he answered, silence filled the line, followed by a chilling voice. "Leave the woman alone, Oba Adekunle. She belongs to the streets now. If you try to save her, you will lose everything." The line went dead. For the first time in years, Oba felt fear crawl up his spine. But fear quickly turned to rage. "Who dares threaten me?" he growled. He swore he would not rest until he uncovered the truth. But deep inside, one thought gnawed at him. Why did Amina carry a child in her arms? And why did that child's eyes look so hauntingly familiar? The next week, Oba's investigators tracked Amina to a rundown slum in Mushin. He went there at night dressed plainly without guards. The alley reeked of waste and smoke. Rats scurried under broken wood. There, inside a shack of rusted iron sheets, he saw her. Amina sat huddled by a dim candle, rocking the child gently. Her once bright eyes were now weary. But when she sang a lullaby, her voice trembled with love. Oba's chest tightened. He remembered that same lullaby. She used to hum it back in Kaduna, dreaming of the future. He wanted to step forward, but his legs froze. Instead, he just watched. The child stirred, lifting his head. And in that instant, Oba's world collapsed. The boy's eyes, sharp, brown, and piercing, just like his own. Oba staggered back, heart racing. No, it cannot be. The possibility struck him like thunder. Was the boy his son? The following day, Oba's boardroom was filled with chatter about a new hostile takeover. But Oba's mind was elsewhere, haunted by the boy's eyes. Then news struck. One of his warehouses was burned overnight. Millions lost. Soon after, a trusted manager betrayed him, leaking sensitive deals. Enemies were circling like vultures. He realized the warning voice on the phone had been serious. Whoever hunted Amina now hunted him too. That night, he returned to Mushin, determined to confront her. But when he arrived, her shack was empty. On the wall, scratched in charcoal, was a message. "Do not trust anyone. The truth is closer than you think." Oba's knees weakened. The shadows were not just around Amina. They had entered his empire. The rain poured heavily in Lagos that evening. Streets turned into rivers and thunder rolled across the sky like angry drums. Oba stood at the entrance of an abandoned church in Surulere. His investigator had whispered to him, "If you want to find her again, wait here tonight." Lightning flashed, and in its glow, he saw her. Amina, cloaked in a faded shawl, carrying her child. She froze when her eyes met his. Her lips parted, trembling. For a long moment, silence reigned. Only the sound of rain filled the night. Then she whispered, barely audible, "Oba, why didn't you listen to my note? I told you to stay away." Oba's heart burned. He stepped closer. "Amina, you vanished 10 years ago. Do you think I could walk away again now? I need answers. I need the truth." Her shoulders sagged. Tears mingled with the rain on her cheeks. "I left because if I had stayed, they would have killed you." "Who?" Oba demanded. But before she could speak, the child stirred and coughed weakly. Oba's gaze fell on the boy's eyes again. His chest tightened. "Is he?" Oba whispered, voice shaking. "Is he my son?" Amina gasped, clutching the child tighter as if shielding him. "Oba, please, not here. They are watching." Oba followed Amina through the rain-soaked alleys until they reached a hidden courtyard. Inside a tiny room, lit only by a flickering kerosene lamp, Amina laid the boy on a mat. His breathing was shallow, his chest heaving. Oba knelt beside him, panic rising. "He's sick. He needs a hospital." Amina shook her head violently. "No, if we step out, they will find us. I cannot risk it." Oba slammed his fist on the floor. "Who are they?" Her voice broke. "Men who wear fine clothes in daylight but shed blood in darkness. Men who destroyed my family. They are powerful, Oba, and they want the boy." Oba's blood ran cold. "Why the boy?" Amina's lips trembled. She looked away, refusing to answer. Before Oba could press further, gunshots cracked outside. Bullets ricocheted against the walls. Amina screamed, clutching her son. Oba grabbed a broken stool, his only weapon, and shouted, "Stay down!" Shadows moved outside the window, armed men searching. Amina whispered, "They found us." Oba smashed the back door open. Rain lashed against his face as he pulled Amina and the boy into the storm. The gunmen shouted behind them. Bullets whizzed past. One struck a tin wall, sparking fire in the kerosene that spilled earlier. Flames erupted. The courtyard burned, smoke rising into the night. Oba carried the boy while Amina stumbled beside him. They ran through the maze of alleys, each turned darker than the last. At last they burst into the main road. Oba's driver screeched the Range Rover to a halt. "Get in!" Oba roared. They dove inside as bullets shattered the rear glass. The car sped away, leaving chaos behind. Amina held her son tightly, sobbing. Oba clenched the steering grip, fury in his voice. "Enough running, Amina. Tomorrow, you will tell me everything." She looked at him, eyes filled with both fear and longing. "Oba, once you know, your life will never be the same." In the safety of Oba's private estate, the storm quieted. The boy finally fell asleep in a warm bed. Oba and Amina sat in silence. For 10 years, words had been trapped in their throats, now threatening to break free. At last, Amina spoke. "The night I disappeared, Oba, I did not betray you. I was taken." Oba's eyes widened. "Taken?" She nodded. "My father's enemies came. They said if I stayed with you, they would kill you and your family. I begged them, but they showed me pictures, guns, graves, blood. I had no choice. I left to protect you." Tears streamed down Oba's face. "All these years, I hated you. I thought you abandoned me for money." Amina sobbed. "I carried that shame alone. But the child. I could not let them harm him." Oba's heart stopped. "The child. Then it's true? He is mine?" She met his gaze, silent but undeniable. Oba rose, fists trembling. His empire, his pride, his wealth, None of it mattered. He had a son. But before the weight of this revelation could sink in, the house alarm blared. The boy screamed from his room. Shadows moved in the corridor. Oba grabbed Amina's hand. "They've found us again!" Oba stormed into the hallway, ready to fight. But the intruders were not masked gunmen. They were his own guards, men he had trusted for years. "Step aside, sir," one of them said coldly. "The boy comes with us." Oba's blood boiled. "Traitors!" The guard sneered. "Money speaks louder than loyalty. You should know that better than anyone, billionaire." Oba charged forward, punching the first guard, but another slammed him to the ground. Amina screamed as two men grabbed the boy from his bed. "Oba!" she cried. He struggled, fury blazing in his eyes. "Don't touch him! He's my son!" The guards laughed. "Your son is worth more than you realize. To them, he's the key." Before Oba could rise again, the men vanished into the night with the boy in their arms. Amina collapsed to her knees, wailing. Oba's fists bled against the floor. His empire had been infiltrated, his son stolen, and in that moment he realized the enemy was not outside. The enemy had always been inside. Oba stood in the silence of his estate, chest heaving, knuckles bleeding. His son, his blood, was gone. Amina lay on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. "It's happening again." "I can't lose him too!" Oba bent beside her, gripping her shoulders. "We will not lose him. I swear by the gods of our fathers I will bring him back." But inside, rage and guilt clashed in his chest. He had built walls of power, wealth, and security, yet those very walls had been breached from within. He rose and barked to the few loyal guards left. "Search every street, every corner of Lagos. Bring me the traitors, or bring me their heads." Yet he knew brute force was not enough. This enemy was too deep, too calculated. Amina whispered through her tears. "They took him for a reason, Oba. They won't harm him yet. But if we don't act fast..." Her words faded into silence. Oba clenched his jaw. His grandmother's words returned to him like a drumbeat in the night. When the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. Meaning, true strength comes from knowing where you stand, no matter the storm. He whispered, "I will find the roots of this evil, and I will tear them out." The next morning, Oba summoned his most trusted ally, Chief Balogun, an elder statesman and business partner who had advised him for years. "Chief," Oba said, his voice low, "they have taken my son." The old man's brows furrowed with concern. "Who would dare such madness?" "That is what I must know," Oba replied. "But the men who took him?" "They spoke of money, of power. They said the boy is the key." "What does that mean?" Chief Balogun's gaze flickered just for a second. A shadow passed over his face, but then he sighed heavily. "Oba, enemies surround you. Perhaps the boy is leverage, nothing more." Oba studied him. For years, Chief Balogun had been like family, but now doubt crept in. Still, he nodded. "Then help me, Chief. Use your network. We must find him before it is too late." Balogun placed a hand on his shoulder. "Of course, my son. Of course." But as Oba turned away, he did not see the glint in the old man's eyes, a glint that spoke of secrets. That night, Oba and Amina hid in a safe house on the outskirts of Lagos. Amina sat in the corner, her face pale. "Oba, there is something I must tell you. Something about our son." Oba leaned forward, heart pounding. "What is it?" She hesitated, clutching her wrapper. "When I disappeared 10 years ago, I was already carrying him. I gave birth in hiding. But the men who hunted me, they discovered the truth. They knew who his father was, and they said the boy carried more than your blood." Oba frowned. "What do you mean?" Her eyes filled with dread. "Your late father, he left behind a secret inheritance. Land, titles, wealth beyond your current empire. But he sealed it under ancient law. It can only be claimed by your firstborn son." Oba froze. His hands trembled. "My father? He never told me." Amina nodded. "Those men want your son because through him, they can control everything your father left behind. He is not just a child, Oba. He is the key to power." Oba's chest tightened. So the whispers were true. His son was more valuable than gold, more dangerous than oil, and the enemy would stop at nothing to possess him. The next day, Oba received a video message on his phone. The screen flickered, and there was his son, tied to a chair, guarded by armed men. A deep voice spoke. "If you want the boy alive, step down from your empire." Sign everything in our name. You have 72 hours. The video cut. Amina collapsed against him, weeping. They will kill him! Oba's face hardened. His heart screamed with fear, but his spirit burned with fury. No, he said. They think I am weak. They think I will kneel, but I will not. That night, he gathered his loyal men in the safe house. Maps were spread across the table, guns laid out, phones buzzing. We are going to war, Oba declared. But even as he prepared, one question tormented him. Who is the true mastermind? Who dares challenge me like this? The answer was closer than he thought. 2 nights later, Oba arranged a secret meeting with one of the captured traitor guards. The man trembled as Oba's fist slammed the table. Tell me who gave the order, Oba roared. The guard coughed blood, then whispered, It was Chief Balogun. Oba staggered back, disbelief flooding his face. No, he is like a father to me. But the guard only laughed bitterly. Fathers betray too. He wants the inheritance. The boy is his path. Oba's stomach churned. The old man he trusted with his life, the man who guided his rise, had orchestrated his downfall. Anger burned through his veins like fire. He would not forgive. He would not show mercy. Then Balogun, he growled, you have declared war on me and my blood. Far away in a dark mansion, Chief Balogun poured himself palm wine and smiled coldly. The boy slept in the next room, guarded by men with rifles. Soon, Balogun murmured, everything the Adekunle dynasty owns will be mine. The night air in Lagos was heavy with tension. Inside the safe house, Oba's men sat around a table littered with blueprints. Walkie-talkies and weapons. Oba stood at the head of the table, his voice calm but sharp as a blade. Chief Balogun has my son. He thinks I will bend. He thinks he owns me. But tonight we end this. His men nodded grimly. Some had served him since the early days of his empire. Their loyalty burned in their eyes. Amina stood at his side, pale but determined. I am going with you. He is my child too. Oba wanted to protest, but he saw the fire in her eyes. The same fire she had carried back in Kaduna, when she fought for justice. He nodded. Then we fight together. A proverb from his grandmother whispered in his heart. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion, meaning unity can overcome even the strongest enemy. And so they prepared. Balogun's mansion stood like a fortress at the edge of town. Tall walls, iron gates, armed men patrolling with rifles. Oba and his small team approached under the cover of darkness. Rain slicked their clothes, thunder masked their movements. Oba whispered into his radio. Positions! Snipers climbed rooftops. Men disabled cameras. Amina crouched beside Oba, clutching a pistol he had pressed into her trembling hand. Her eyes glistened. Oba, if anything happens to me, promise you'll save him. Oba gripped her hand tightly. We walk out of this together. All 3 of us. Then, with the silence of panthers, they struck. The first shots cracked through the night. Balogun's guards scrambled, shouting, as Oba's men stormed the gates. Oba moved like a storm, taking down one guard, then another, his rage giving him strength. Amina stayed close, her heart pounding, firing when cornered. Inside, the mansion shook with chaos. Chandeliers crashed, walls splintered, the air filled with smoke and fear. Oba kicked open door after door, shouting, Where is my son? At last, a terrified maid pointed upstairs. The old man keeps him in the golden room. Oba's chest tightened. He bolted for the staircase, Amina at his heels. But just as they reached the top, Balogun appeared. Dressed in a flowing white agbada, with armed men flanking him, he looked more like a king than a criminal. Oba Adekunle, he said, voice dripping with mockery. You come into my house like a thief in the night. Have you forgotten who raised you? Oba's eyes blazed. You raised me only to betray me. Balogun chuckled darkly. Everything you have you owe to me. And soon, everything you own will belong to my son. Oba froze. Your son? Balogun's grin widened. Yes. Did you think you were the only one who could sire an heir? My son will inherit alongside yours, but unlike you, he will not resist me. Together they will rule under my name. Amina gasped. Oba's fury erupted like fire. Over my dead body. The hallway exploded into gunfire.